At American Trends, we only talk about what your social media says is trending. Let's get right back to it, America. Joining me from the middle of America somewhere, your host, your favorite, our Dr. Gina. There you are.
Hey, Barry. How goes it?
I can't hear. Where are you?
I don't know. Definitely not California, though. People are still crazy friendly, which is really like disillusioning at first when you're in other parts of the country and they're super friendly, and then you get kind of used to it and you think, why aren't people always this friendly? So we're still in that world where people are so really, really friendly. No, I think we're in Branson, almost-ish.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm thrilled you're mostly dressed, which is good, although I'm sure a certain percentage of your fan base wanted you in the bikini again like last night.
I was not in a bikini. I was in a tank top.
I knew it. You know what? I said she wasn't skimpy, and people say, oh, no, you missed it. So good for you.
You didn't miss it. I mean, I did have my bikini on, but I put a tank top, a very conservative tank top, I might add, over the top of my bikini. So
okay.
You're both right. It's
High five. You were conservative and yet underneath sort of slinky. Okay, let's get to it from the middle of wherever the heck you are. Did you see President Obama's speech?
Yeah, he's a Republican now. How nice is that, right?
What'd you think of the speech?
I think he was told, hey, President Obama, why don't you appeal to the Never-Trumpers? And so I think this speech was written to appeal to the Never-Trumpers. But for those of us who've been watching him kind of live for the past 7.5 years, it's not very effective.
I gotta ask you this. I watched it. We had it on last night during the show. I sort of felt like his recounting of the state of affairs in America was an alternative universe. Everything's great. Crime is down. Employment is up. ISIS is being defeated. Everything's great. And oh, by the way, Trump is wrong. Things aren't bad. But if you were listening and you weren't a dyed-in-the-wool Obama fan, you would say, what's he talking about? I don't agree with any of those facts.
Yeah, I guess he's one of those who thinks that if you hold people hostage for 7.5 years and you put a gun to their head, you kind of torture them and you make their economic life miserable and their security, their sense of personal safety completely miserable. You pit them against their fellow Americans. You try to make them all enemies. You try to make them all victims. And then I guess that he thinks that at some point we'll all be suffering from a bad case of what is the syndrome where you start identifying with your kidnapper. What is that, Barry? You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, Stockholm Syndrome.
Stockholm Syndrome, yeah. Who's the psychology person here? But yeah, that's what it reminds me of, is like that he thinks that we're all just going to start believing him at this point for the horrible things that he's done to us. Let's remember, back 7.5 years ago, we didn't have the economic problems we have now. We didn't have the security issues we have now. We didn't have the problems for Israel, the terrorist threats that we have now. We didn't hate people based on their race, their gender, their class, their whatever. And now he's got us all in this state of complete torment. And he's like, but look, I'm your friend. I love you. Not really. We're not buying it.
So let me ask you this, G. Does it work? Does that narrative of everything's great and you want 4 more years of me, so vote for my girlfriend Hillary, does that work?
If you're stupid, I guess it works. I mean, really, you how dumb do you have to be to buy the picture somebody paints of a world that you don't actually live in? That's not exactly sanity, not exactly intelligence. So no, I don't think the American people are going to buy it. And it's reflected really in the most recent polls, Barry, where Donald Trump is up by any poll. Even the most liberal of polls have him up 7 to 8 points. The more conservative polls have him up 17 to 20 points. I mean, we're seeing an increase in poll numbers that are absolutely unprecedented at this point in the campaign. It doesn't surprise us when Donald Trump does something unprecedented, because that's what he does. But it speaks volumes about what Hillary and the Democrats have not accomplished.
Okay, so let's change horses in the middle of the stream. Michael Bloomberg comes out with a speech. Now, that's Michael Bloomberg that's the Republican, the Democrat, the Republican. I'm not sure what he is now. And he just roasted Trump on his economic policies. Did you get a chance to listen? What are your thoughts on Bloomberg?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are a lot more opinions out there, despite Bloomberg's knowledge of this. There are other opinions out there than his. And I've been reading a lot of economic opinions of Donald Trump's policies and plans, and I'm actually pretty impressed with it. There are a couple things that I'm not going to lie, I'll be watching him close on. I'm not a lay-down Trump person by any standard. I never have been. There are things like suggesting that the minimum wage be raised at all. I think that flies in the face of everything that I believe has to do with capitalism and free market economics. So I don't like that. Is it a deal breaker for me? Maybe not. I want to hear his reasons. I want to hear what he's really going to do with it. I want to hear what a real priority it has, realizing that he's a smart campaigner, that he has to reach out to the middle, and that probably any other candidate we would have right now would either be losing ridiculously, or they'd be making even more moderate statements. So Bloomberg, his opinions really don't resonate very high with me. I've listened to people like Dr. Krauthammer, who I had a long conversation with this weekend about Donald Trump, and then I saw what he had to say this week about Donald Trump and his policies, and people that I really do respect, and their opinions mean more to me.
Okay, I'm with you on that one. And Charles Krauthammer, one of the great commentators of probably the last decade. I'm a big fan.
Super nice guy one-on-one, by the way. I had never met him before. He's one of the few people at Fox News that I had never just run into in the green room. I ran into him several times this weekend. He is one of the most, and I didn't expect this. I expect a little, I don't know, gruffness or something. I don't know. What do you expect when you meet Krauthammer? He's Krauthammer, but he was so generous and so gracious and heart of gold, in no hurry to get away. None of this, I'm too good for whoever you are, Gina Loudon, and your 50 little kids you have with you. He was very, very generous and sweet man.
Well, it's really nice to hear that, because I've loved reading him, Washington Post columnist, and I really love his commentary. All right, change horses. Clinton Foundation now under investigation by, get this, the IRS. What do you think?
I mean, they should already be indicted for what they've done. Hillary should already be out of this race. Although you and I have talked many times, Barry, on this show, that we're kind of glad that Hillary hasn't gotten in trouble for the things that she's done, that she should be in trouble for. But you and I are glad about it, because we think that she is an opponent that we as Republicans and sane people can actually beat. And so I still feel the same way. I feel like Hillary should already be in prison for the things that she's done. If you just take Benghazi, if you just take the email scandal, it doesn't matter. There are so many things that she's done, even going back to things that she did during the Clinton administration that were reprehensible, that no one else would ever get away with. So if this is the president that you're going to choose, someone like Hillary Clinton, you're going to be dealing with investigations and shenanigans and really criminal behavior for the entire time that she's president. We have to ask ourselves, is this the America that we want? I think not.
Well, starting tomorrow, the polls come out post-convention. Let's see if the bounce is there. If not, DNC's in real trouble. Thanks, G. See you soon,
Thank you, B.
Drive safely.
Okay, we'll do. Of course, I don't drive, but I sit here.
More American Trends coming up next. We want to hear from you, too. Go vote in our poll. We want to know what you think about Bernie dumping the Democratic Party.